Flip Nomberg, a lacrosse coach and lacrosse stick designer, once asked, "What tool in sports not attached to your body is more important than a lacrosse stick?" My answer personally as a lacrosse player is no other tool. In the official NCAA lacrosse rulebook, the lacrosse stick is considered an extension of the arm, and for a lot of players, this statement is almost literal. There is more effort put into having a lacrosse stick than what some might think there is. Today I'll be telling you about the process of obtaining a lacrosse stick, as well as customizing it and maintaining it. There are two parts to a lacrosse stick: the shaft, which is the handle that the player grabs onto, and the head, where the ball is kept. Before even beginning to buy any lacrosse equipment, you need to know what position you play, because all lacrosse sticks are position specific. Obviously for the shaft, an offensive player has a shorter shaft and a defensive player has a longer shaft, like this. And even more specifically within offense, there are different shapes to a lacrosse head that lacrosse players use to match their playing style. So for my stick, I have a wider head to catch the ball easier, which takes away a bit of protection because it's easier for the ball to pop out. And this head, it's much skinnier, so it's harder to catch, but there's more protection once the ball's in the stick. So there are three main ways to buy a lacrosse stick: at a sporting goods store, buying it used on eBay, or buying online at a lacrosse retailer. Buying at a store is probably the worst way to buy a lacrosse stick because there's not a lot of selection and there's not a lot of different shaped heads to match your playing style as a lacrosse player. Buying used on eBay is pretty much just a way players use to save a little bit of money because this equipment is pretty expensive. And buying online is probably the best option because the online stores have the most variety and different shaped heads. On lacrosse.com, it's a main lacrosse equipment distributor. There are 79 different types of heads with different shapes. So once you have your stick and you're ready to use it, then you start to customize it. So pretty much the only way to customize the shaft would be the way you tape your stick. So me personally, I have a lot of grip at the bottom of my stick, and these stripes are here to help me know where my hand should be when I'm shooting. And other players like to have no tape at all, so it's a smooth transition when you're switching hands. And on the other end of the spectrum, like this stick, some players tape their entire stick, so they have a lot of grip wherever they're holding the stick. Customizing your lacrosse head is much more of a specific and tedious process. Stringing a lacrosse stick, I would say, is an art in a lot of ways, and a lot of players actually don't even know how to string sticks. When I asked 25 players from my lacrosse team of the Eastern University lacrosse team, 21 out of 25 of the players don't string their own sticks. So how those players get their sticks strung is they take them to what's referred to on the team as a stick doctor, which is just a player who's very experienced in stringing a stick. So you pretty much just take your stick to them, let them know how you like your stick strung, and pay them $5 or $10 for their time. So there are a lot of different varieties of stringing you can have. First would be the mesh, which is just the basket or net on the stick. So this mesh has smaller holes, so it's a smooth release. The ball can kind of move around smoothly in there, but that also means that there's not a lot of hold in the stick and the ball can come out easier. In this type of mesh, the holes are bigger, so it's a bit more rough of a release because you can feel the ball bouncing off the holes, but there's a lot more hold because the bigger holes are kind of gripping onto the ball. Sidewall string is the red string here, and pretty much the point of the sidewall string is to determine where the ball is in your stick. So in my stick, this would be considered a middle pocket because the ball is in the middle of the stick. But on this stick, it's a high pocket because the ball is sitting higher in the stick. The reason for different placed pockets is just how comfortable the player feels with the stick, with the ball in a certain place in the pocket. Shooting strings, which are just these shoelace-looking strings right here, are the strings that control the whip in a lacrosse stick. So whip is a term in lacrosse that means however much the ball catches off these strings and kind of like shoots down at a certain angle. So this stick, when I'm throwing the ball up, it's kind of going forward because I don't have a lot of whip on my stick. But with this stick, as you're going, it kind of catches on those strings more. As you can see, it kind of pops backward. So that's just depending on how a player likes their stick to throw, like if they like kind of dipping down or going straight out. This is actually a traditional stick, so it's called traditional because when lacrosse was a Native American tradition, this is how they were strung with 4 leather strings, and then a lot of intricate knotting and stuff. This is a very complicated way. Even more than 21 and 25 players couldn't string this. And then once you have your whole stick customized and ready to play with, you have to maintain it. So pretty much maintenance of the shaft just means how often you retape your stick. Obviously my tape job is pretty old, it's a few months old, but some players restring their stick multiple times a week before every game.